In studio with me right now, Herman Cain, GOP presidential candidate. Welcome back, Herman.
Hello, Simon. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We have a full board of people that want to ask you questions, but
great.
It says the Simon Conway show above the door, so I get first go. Okay. I was looking at your website today, and there's some stuff here about national security because, of course, apart from wanting to be president, you want to be commander-in-chief.
Yes.
And I'm looking at this, and it essentially says that we've got to support our military, we've got to give them training, equipment, technology, infrastructure. We're not going to hear that from, we are going to hear that from absolutely everybody else. What makes you a better commander-in-chief than, say, the one we've already got?
Because my approach to getting my hands around national security starts with listening to the field commanders, listening to the generals, listening to the Joint Chiefs of Staff, listen to the people who are closest to the problem. That's one of my guiding principles for my campaign, as well as guiding principles that I will use as president. We have plenty of expertise in Washington, D.C., in the Pentagon and in our military. A good leader knows how to ask the right questions in order to make sure that we are strategically using all of our resources in the best manner.
So if the generals come to you with a shopping list, are you just going to sign off on it?
Nope. I'm going to ask questions. Why do you need this? Why do you need that? Why do you need that? Why do you need this?
Okay.
And then if they give me a convincing argument as to why we need it, the next question is going to be, well, do we have a program that we need to end in order to be able to do the new program? And so we'll use that kind of approach to see if we can't focus our resources better. Because there are times that I feel, and a lot of people feel, is that we don't have the right focus on the right systems in the right way.
As someone who wants to be commander-in-chief, do you not think you should have had your boots on the ground in Afghanistan or Iraq by now?
My boots on the ground? Possibly, yes. But since it's still early in the campaign, I have been spending my time here talking to security experts, talking to ex-military people who have served there. I've even had briefings from people who have worked in the Afghanistan government. So I am getting a good assessment, because just making a trip over for the sake of saying that I've been to Afghanistan, it's nice, and I'm going to eventually do that. But right now, I have been collecting information as well as intelligence information in order to formulate a very good approach to what we ought to do with Afghanistan.
Kabul is lovely, especially this time of year, but that wasn't really why I was suggesting you should go.
Right. But I've talked to plenty of troops that have been there, and I've talked to, and I talk to them all the time. But you're absolutely right. Okay.
All right. So that's on the agenda.
It is on the agenda, yes.
All right. Let's take a couple of these patient callers. Let's see. Let's go to Terry in Ankeny. Hi, Terry.
Good morning, Herman, or afternoon. How you doing?
Fantastic. Thanks for calling, sir.
I'm a fan.
Thank you.
I got one question, sir.
All right.
I'm gonna elect you president right now.
All right.
Would you give me some ideas, or name names if you could, who you would have in your administration as cabinet post people?
Thanks, Terry.
Thank you, Terry. I hesitate to name names because I don't want to compromise some people that I'm currently talking with. But let me tell you what type of people I will be looking for.
Okay.
And there are some out there, and some of them happen to be trying to get the Republican nomination. But I don't want to compromise them. I want people, number one, who are not afraid to challenge the establishment. One of the biggest problems we have in Washington, D.C. is that too often they keep doing the same thing the same way and expecting a different result, which is called insanity. Secondly, they need to be courageous, courageous enough to think outside the box. And thirdly, they need to appreciate the idea that the best way to get things done in Washington, D.C. is to make sure that you connect with the American people.
Are you looking for people who are prepared to challenge you inside the Oval Office? I mean, that's a very intimidating office, and it's been described many times as the best home field advantage anywhere in the world.
If they're not prepared to challenge me as president, I probably wouldn't have them in my staff.
Okay.
In all of my experiences throughout business, I have always surrounded myself with people who were not afraid to challenge me, because that made me a better leader.
Okay, let's go to Leah in Des Moines. Hi, Leah.
Hi, Simon and Mr. Cain.
Yes.
I really, really like your economic policies, and they sound great, but would you agree that the trouble that our country is in financially is stems from moral issues. And I
okay, all right. Well, hang on. You asked him a question. Let's let him answer it. Moral issues, Herman?
I do believe that moral issues do play a factor in what's happening in this country. I have a list of guiding principles that I talked about, and the top of that list is do what's right. Too often, the approach is what is politically right, what is politically feasible. Secondly, yes, with respect to things like marriage, with respect to some of the other social issues, there is a degradation that is going on. I had the unfortunate experience just 2 days ago when I was in Las Vegas, when I was on the way to the event, the Conservative Leadership Conference. Someone had actually put up a billboard, paid money to have a message up there that said, and I quote, "God is a myth." Now, because of the First Amendment, they have every right to do that. But, you know, for somebody to want to spend money to try and basically challenge people who believe in God, something is terribly wrong.
Well, later on in today's show, we're going to be talking about the New York atheists who plan now to sue the city over 7 in Heaven Way outside a fire station, a street named in honor of 7 firefighters who gave their lives on 9/11.
Unbelievable.
Isn't it unbelievable? It really is. It's incredible. Let's move on to immigration, because again, I'm looking at your website. I'm reading.
Yes.
I'm reading what's on your website.
Thank you.
And it essentially says that what we've got works if we don't enforce it. That's how I'm interpreting it. So secure the border and enforce the laws that we've got.
Correct.
Is that Herman Cain's policy?
Yes, it's got 4 parts to it, because the whole immigration issue is 4 problems, not just one. And specifically, secure the border. I mean, get serious about securing the border, and I happen to believe that we can do that.
Okay.
We can put a man on the moon. We can secure the border.
No, not
Secondly,
anymore, we can't.
That's right. No, we have to thumb our way to the space station now.
Don't get me started.
That's another area where I disagree with this
Oh,
president.
boy, don't get me started
Secondly,
on that again.
enforce the laws that are already on the books. Thirdly, promote the path to citizenship that already exists. All we need to do is clean up the bureaucracy that makes it cumbersome for people to come through the front door.
Well,
and then number 4.
Trust me.
Yes,
I know about that.
I know you do. You know about it firsthand. And it could be a whole lot simpler, cleaner, and faster if we take a look at it and do it right. And then the 4th thing, empower the states to do what the federal government is not, cannot, will not, and will never do. And that is to deal with the illegals that are already in the state. Make it a state matter and empower them to do so. And that way we'll be working on all 4 of the problems.
See, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Are you aware that in order to become a citizen of the United States, you need to take a test that's roughly 5th grade level, and you have to make a D?
Yes.
You're aware of that?
Yes.
Do you not think that bar's just ever so slightly low?
I think the bar is too low. And what's ironic about it is there are a lot of people in this country that are born here who vote who couldn't pass that test.
You're absolutely right.
That's
I've
the
actually
problem.
done that on the air.
Yes. They couldn't pass that test.
I made people put their passports on the line. If they failed the test, they had to deliver them to my studio.
And so we have
And the guy that failed didn't show up, by the way.
We have a huge problem with, I call it the 50% of the American public that's clueless as to what's going on in terms of some of the issues we face. And so we have a huge educational challenge with respect to getting people to understand what's happening.
See, I would go way further than you. I would absolutely. You've got to start with securing the border, no question.
agree.
You
Yes.
have to secure the border, otherwise anything else you do is a complete waste of time.
If you don't secure the border, then you're not fixing the problem.
No.
And then whatever you do on the other end, on this side, it's never going to get any better.
Absolutely. So you've got to start there. The second thing you've got to do is make it bureaucratically much easier to come in here legally.
Yes.
Because it's ridiculous.
I know. And this is the
Completely
complaint
ridiculous.
that
I gave up my fingerprints 17 times.
Right.
During the process, and I had to pay to give up my fingerprints each time. By the way, I had to have a medical to make sure I didn't have anything communicable, which I agree with. Actually, it is a throwback to Ellis Island, but I completely agree with it. Problem: I was here 3.5 years before they gave me that medical.
Yes.
Complete nonsense.
I knew.
And then you can get green cards. I'm sorry to talk over you. You can get green cards forever.
Yes.
Under Simon Conway's law, 1 green card, 10 years. You can't figure out you want to be a citizen, go home.
I like
that.
that.
More with Herman Cain. We're talking about illegal immigration. Apparently, there's a whole bunch of people who like to be known as the Hispanic GOP, which just drives me insane, I've got to tell you. I genuinely, I hate this splitting off stuff.
Yes.
You know, we're Americans. I talk about this all the time. I'm not British American. I'm American.
Right.
Okay? Hispanic GOP people drive me crazy. But they called on you to quit.
They don't like my approach to immigration because I'm real definitive about what I want to do, which I just explained. And then when I made a jest, I talked about securing the border. Well, they were offended by that. Well, you know what? I can't worry about being politically correct, but I am firmly believe in what I just described as the 4 problems of this issue. There's an element, Simon, in this country, they do not want to secure the border. They wanted to leave it porous, and I don't agree with that. We are a nation of laws for a reason, and I believe illegal is illegal and legal is legal. That's why I'm adamant about securing the border.
And speaking as someone who came through the front door, I can assure you that illegal immigrants annoy me more than they annoy most other Americans, I promise you.
You did it the right way.
I sure did. Let me bring Nathan from Ankeny on the phone. Make your point quickly, Nathan, please.
Yes, Simon, I'm here visiting in Ankeny, and I do really enjoy your show. But, Mr. Cain, I heard you probably about 3 months ago, and I've really enjoyed everything you've had to say. I do have one question for you.
Yes.
On the homosexual agenda, the same-sex marriage, the abolishing the don't ask, don't tell, teaching in elementary schools that Heather has 2 mommies or 2 daddies.
Okay.
And I feel like it's a choice, and I think it's a detriment to the United States.
What's the actual question, though? You're making a statement right now.
Well, okay, my question is, what's your stance on the homosexual agenda?
Thank you, Nathan.
I believe in traditional marriage. I believe in enforcing the Defense of Marriage Act of 1996. I also would never have repealed Don't Ask, Don't Tell, because I don't believe that the military needs that distraction, and I have been consistent with that. So that's how I feel about it in terms of traditional marriage, 1 man, 1 woman, and I do not believe that you teach in school that it's okay to have, 2 mummies or 2 daddies, because that's not the way our founding fathers envisioned the cultural values of this nation. Okay,
I think that was clear enough, Nathan. Hopefully you got your answer there. Let's see. Let me take one more right now. Let's go to Vicky in Granger. Hi, Vicky.
Hi, Simon. Hi, Mr. Cain.
Hello.
I have a couple very short related questions. One is,
just
are you pro-life?
Pro-life.
I am pro-life from conception. End of story. I do not believe in abortion.
You don't have to go any further than that. One more very quick one. Andy in Kelowna. Hi, Andy.
Hi, how are you? Hello,
Great.
Herman.
Hello.
Make your point, please.
Real quick question. I have heard that you believe that gun ownership or the right to bear arms is a state's issue, and I wonder why, since it's in the Constitution.
First of all, that statement is not true. What I have said is that if a state wants to pass background check laws, they have the right to do that. If a state wants to pass conceal and carry laws, it should be the state and not the federal government. I do not believe that the federal government or the state should restrict access to our ownership of weapons.
Okay, again, very clear. No room for maneuver there. Let me go to, let's see. Let me go to Gary on a cell phone. Hi, Gary.
Hi, Simon. I have a question for Herman.
Yes, sir.
He can hear you.
I love his tax ideas, but I have one more economic question for him. We make him president. He gets his tax reform through. He follows through with phase 2 and reforms the IRS code and gets rid of it.
Okay.
Now, are you an artificial stimulation fan, or are you a market clearing fan with minor, if any, adjustments from the Fed?
I am a market-driven growth person, and I do not believe that the Federal Reserve should be in the business of trying to artificially stimulate the markets. You don't stimulate the market by deflating the dollar. No, you get government out of the way and allow the free market system and free markets to determine our economic growth. And if we put the right fuel in the engine, I believe it will grow substantially. Okay,
Herman, you're in town for a grand opening.
Yes.
Tell us about that. Then we'll take a final quick traffic break, and I'll come back with one last question for you.
Grand opening of the Herman Cain for President headquarters of Iowa. this afternoon at 5:30 p.m. at 8550 New York Avenue in Urbandale. Grand opening of our Cain presidential office.
There you go. Well, Herman Cain, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.
We're talking about securing the border. Are you aware of the what is happening with border agent Jesus Diaz right now? Do you know about that case?
No, I'm not.
Okay. I'm going to tell you very briefly because the clock's ticking, and then I'm going to ask you for a commitment to look into it. Okay? Jesus Diaz, Border Patrol agent, 8-year veteran. Okay, stopped an illegal alien drug smuggler one night and pulled on his handcuffs upwards to take him to the ground because he was being non-cooperative. That is the only physical thing he's been charged with. Okay, the other stuff is infringing this illegal alien drug smuggler's rights, and he has been convicted. He is going to get a minimum of 10 years. He's currently locked up 23 hours a day. It's worse than the Compion and Ramos case because he didn't shoot anybody. He used handcuffs. I appreciate you don't know about it. Can I get your commitment that you will look into it? And if you agree with what I've just said, advocate for Jesus Diaz.
Absolutely.
Herman Cain, thank you so much
Thanks,
for joining
Simon.
me here today on the Simon Conway Show. We appreciate it as ever, and hopefully we'll get you back one more time before straw poll time.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.